Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sara Jones. So this is another one of our ghost story minisodes. You know the drill by now. For this episode, I talked to Ryän Kelley from Aloha, Oregon, about a haunting experience he endured while he was in college. This one will make you think twice before you go to sleep tonight. Hope you love it. All right, so let's start with why don't you say your name and something about yourself or some way to introduce yourself to listeners.
My name is Ryän Kelley. I live in Aloha, Oregon, and I'm an electrical engineer.
Yeah, okay, good deal. So, do you consider yourself a skeptic?
No.
Why is that?
I don't know, there's just some things that can't be explained. As I'm a man of science, but to me there's just some things that could happen. Ghosts or aliens or whatever. I mean, it might be far-fetched, but...
So you have a good ghost story for me, right?
Good for you, but it was a bad experience for me.
Oh, no. All right. Well, is it triggering to go into it?
No, it's...
Okay.
I gotta do a little bit of backstory before we get into what happened to me.
Nitty-gritty. Okay.
So, like I said, I went to University of Oregon, and I dated the girl in the apartment right beneath me. One day, I was sleeping downstairs in her bed, and I woke up, went to the bathroom, and then when I came back, then I noticed that she was breathing really heavily, and...
Which is like abnormal for her, kind of. She was asleep, right?
I thought so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she, doesn't snore or sleepwalk or talk in her sleep or whatever. And I could just hear her. Sounds like she's breathing really heavily out of her nose and not her mouth. So I look over, her eyes are closed, and I'm like, oh, all right. Maybe she just has a clogged nose or something, but...
Yeah.
But she's doing this for like 30 seconds. So I kind of sit up and I look at her like, hey, are you all right? Are you awake? And when I felt her, I could feel she was like super tense. So imagine just like someone laying on the ground and then just squeezing every part of their body.
Yeah, like all her muscles are all tensed up.
And that's what it felt like. And she was still breathing heavily out of her nose. So I kind of like shook her a little bit more, a little bit harder, and still nothing. And then after a while, I kind of heard some like whimpering or something coming from her, kind of like she couldn't talk. I was like, what the heck?
Like it sounded like she was trying to talk, but she couldn't, kind of a deal?
Yeah, it sounded like she was trying to yell or was mumbling or humming or something. Put two hands on her, like, shook her. I was like, hey, are you awake? And then eventually she like just jolted up and like sat up in bed, and then it was just like, ugh! And then she just started crying and like hugged me, and we went out into the living room, just slept on the couch. But like I was tired and didn't really want to make anything of it. Thought maybe she just had a nightmare or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next day, I was like, hey, what the heck happened? And then she told me she, was asleep, and then she woke up, and it felt like someone was like holding her down, like choking her.
Like sleep paralysis?
So we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she said it felt like someone was like choking her and like pressing down on her, and she couldn't move, but she was like fully awake. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, well, that's weird. Maybe you were just dreaming or something, or it felt like a real dream. And she's like, no, it was real. And it's like a week later, it happened again to her. Same thing. She was freaking out and started crying. And that's a thing called sleep paralysis.
Right.
Which I guess is sort of a normal thing. And I read into it. Apparently when you sleep, you go into some type of REM cycle. Mm-hmm. Or there's 2 cycles in a night. And then when you're switching from the first to the second cycle, sometimes people wake up. Mm-hmm. And I guess your body and your mind aren't in sync. Yeah, so you have like no control of your body, but you're aware, and hence why she couldn't move, and the flexing, and she was breathing heavily out of just her nose because she couldn't talk. And then eventually, after like 30 seconds or a minute of it, then you're able to pair back up. Sync up, and there's some science behind it, just some sleep stuff. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend at the time was not religious, but had some type of faith, or grew up Catholic or Christian or something. Mm-hmm. So did I. So when she was sleeping, I just prayed for her and said, hey, whatever this is, if there's anything here, just stop.
Yeah, leave her alone.
Leave her alone, yeah. So then it stopped happening to her, but that night, it happened to me.
No way.
It was the scariest thing ever happened, even though, like, I watched it from the outside, watching her experience it. To me, it was on a whole other level.
It's like when you experience it yourself, now you really know. what
yeah, so I woke up in the middle of the night and I was awake, and it felt like something was there, and I could kind of look around, and yeah, there was no one there besides me and her in a small
Did you feel
room.
pressure like on your chest, or like where was the pressure on you?
It's everywhere. I just felt like I was sinking into the bed, and I couldn't move no matter how hard I tried. And
So it didn't feel like a figure was pushing you. It felt like there was just like this heavy pressure weighing down on your whole body, basically.
yeah, it's like a whole energy or something. But
Okay.
no matter how, and I tried yelling or moving, and even when I tried whimpering, I didn't feel like it was actually making a noise, even though I could, in my head, it seemed like I was making the noise. And then eventually I was able to get up, and yeah,
And your girlfriend stayed asleep the whole time, like she didn't even know?
yeah, she was out cold, and then I just sat up, and I just stayed awake all night because it was just so freaky. Yeah, I told her the next day, and we talked about it, and we both, experienced the same thing. We couldn't move. It was hard to breathe. No matter how hard we tried to talk, nothing could happen. And so after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to sleep upstairs in my room now, and, just going to be studying late and don't want to disturb you in your finals. So ever since then, it happened to me every night in my room. And it felt, I don't know, but I felt like whatever happened down there followed me or something.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out. Eventually, I just got accustomed to, when I go to bed, I know something's going to happen. Ever since then, I was totally afraid to go in my room and go to bed because I knew it would happen, and it would just feel like something was in there. And so it would always specifically happen every night when I went to bed. And then I had a discussion class every Wednesday at 8 a.m. for 15 minutes. So I would leave and then come back and just go back to bed because I didn't have class the rest of the day.
Right.
And then at that point, I was like, okay, this is where I can get some sleep because it's light out.
Daytime.
There's people walking around my room. Even my roommates who were just right across the hall, 5 feet away.
And it would still happen at 10 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, I'd get home at 9 and I'd go right back to bed, and I would just immediately just go into this panic sleep paralysis thing, and it was just the weirdest thing. It happened every night, and after about 2 weeks of that, I started sleeping on my couch with the TV on. Just I felt like maybe if I was out in a little bit more public in my living room with the TV on, it would stop, but it just got built in my head so much, so
yeah,
I couldn't sleep, and it freaked me out, and it was not a good year.
So how long did it last? You said it lasted for a whole year?
Yeah, so after that, it lasted for a whole year. Well, before it went away, I'll tell you a little something else that happened.
Oh, no.
So, like I said, it got really bad. So one night, come home, I'm expecting it, I'm dead tired. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to pass out, and it'll probably happen, and then I'll just try and go back to bed. I don't know how you sleep, but I sleep on my back with a t-shirt over my face to block sunlight or whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, imagine if you're laying on your back, looking straight up at the ceiling with a shirt over your eyes, but if you kind of just look down, there's kind of like a little slit.
Little opening. Yeah, because the bridge of your nose will make an opening. I see what you're saying.
So you can see just a little bit if you look down.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, I couldn't move, and I felt, this presence, and I was trying to yell and trying to move. I just felt something there, but my eyes were open and I could see, just slightly in front of me, and the lights from the outside were shining through the window, through the curtains. So I could see stuff in my room. I could see my feet on the bed. The paint on my walls was white, so it seemed kind of bright. The feeling I got worse and worse.
There's like an ominous type of a feeling, just like a sinister.
Yeah, and it's actually I was about to mention, if you ever saw the movie Sinister.
Oh, loved it.
It's a good scary movie.
That's the one with Bagul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that movie.
So if you think of his face, how it's kind of
like a droopy,
like black kind of Rorschach type of thing,
Yeah.
So I just felt this evil presence there, and all I could see was in front of me, and then all of a sudden, just that little spot in front of my face, this black figure just popped right in front of my face.
Whoa.
Like, it was right there looking at me eye to eye, just an inch from my face. And as at that point, I felt myself sinking in the bed, and that's when I really tried to move and scream. And like I said, it was just like a black figure with kind of like a really light gray white silhouette of evil looking eyes just staring at me. And it freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And like I said, ever since then, so that probably happened about 2 weeks after it all started. That was the second worst experience. And then...
That was the second worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would have scared the shit out of me. And then directly after that, you couldn't move or speak, because you said you sunk into the bed right after that, right?
Yeah.
So you just have this terrible thing happen to you, and you can't even express it. But that's the second worst.
So like I said, it happened, like that happened every night. Then that one specific instance happened where I actually saw something.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I always thought I would see it again, but I never saw it again, but I could feel it. But then one night I came home and went to bed, same thing. I was expecting it to happen, so I put my little nightstand lamp on, because I was reading, and then I was like, all right, I'll just leave it on.
Yeah.
Maybe that will help.
Yeah.
And so get like 10 minutes in the book, I'm out. And sure enough, my bed, so I'm on my right side, and the wall's to my left, so I'm facing the center of my room.
Yeah.
So my back...
So your back is to the wall.
Yeah, my wall's to the back.
That took me way too long to visualize.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's just a random, useless detail. But
No, it's fine. It like puts me in the moment, so I like it.
Yeah, so my bed's in the corner, and I'm basically just sleeping against the wall, looking in the center of the room. Sure enough, I wake up, and I feel the same thing. Can't move, can't really breathe, only except out my nose, and trying to yell for my roommate, Andrew. Like I said, he was literally right across the way. Him and his girlfriend are just right there. And every night I'm like, hey man, I yelled for you. Did you hear me? He's like, no, I didn't hear a thing. So like you hear yourself yelling, but nobody else can hear it. Yeah, I can feel and hear myself going, trying.
Oh, so you can hear yourself struggling to yell. That's the scary part for me.
And to me, it feels like it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you not hear that? I mean, the doors are thin, and anyway, he never once heard a thing, and I always just felt helpless and trapped.
Well, you barely heard your girlfriend too when she, remember, because like it seemed like you kind of heard her mumbling, maybe humming a little bit, but it wasn't like bellowing loud.
No, but yeah, like I said, it was just scary because I was basically crying for help, and no one would help. No one could help me.
That's horrible.
So I woke up, and my arm is just kind of drooped over, hanging off the bed. And like I said, I'm looking directly into the center of the room with the light on, and I can't move, and I just feel my arm go straight, and I just feel just a big old tug, and I just get yanked out of my bed.
Did you feel like a hand on your arm pulling you, or did your arm just move without you meaning for it to?
It just moved, and I just felt I was just yanked and dragged just directly out of the bed onto the floor. And
whoa!
So my bed, it was not on a frame, so it was just on the floor like any other college student. And,
right.
And I was just under a couple blankets, and just my arm just went up, and I just got dragged right into the floor, just like instantly. It didn't hurt or anything, but just like that, and then I was able to move again, and I looked around, and just instant, just shearing fright, with being scared, just cold feeling all throughout my body.
Oh yeah, that shock feeling of the cold rushing through you.
So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, this has been happening every night. I saw something, and now something physically pulled me out of my bed.
Ugh.
So at that point, I was fucking freaked out, and like I said, I started sleeping out in the living room. So I never slept in my room for the rest of the year.
Did that help when you slept in the living room?
Sometimes. So I slept with the TV on, and I would try and stay awake as much as I can, and just try to get myself super tired so I wouldn't wake up and experience this. But sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, still able to move, but I would just feel the fright and being scared, and then I would just keep myself up, and from my couch in the living room, I could see my room, and I would just always just stare at the door.
It's very like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like you don't want to make yourself fall asleep, Yeah,
like I said, I never wanted to go to bed, and my girlfriend knew about it, and all she basically said was, sorry, that sucks. And
Oh, what? Jesus.
Yeah, she is.
You're like, you're welcome. I took it from you. Because she didn't experience it after that, right? Or did
Nope.
she still? No, she didn't.
Said she experienced it twice, as far as I know, and never happened to her again. And she never once tried to help me with it or anything. And But I told my parents about it because it was really starting to affect my everyday life.
In school, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was starting to skip class, and I wasn't sleeping, and I'd fall asleep, in the library or whatever, just would not want to be home, even alone.
Yeah.
And,
did it ever happen if you fell asleep in the library or something? Did it ever happen there?
No. Well, it's always in my apartment. So I told my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, she said it happened to her, a few times, and it's scary, but I don't know. My mom and I are the same, that we just both like scary movies and love that stuff and horror, but she's just not fazed by it. I mean, she could watch something scary by herself all night in the dark, home alone, and then just lights out.
Go to bed, yeah.
But she knew what I was going through, and so she told me to do this, at the time I thought was a weird, I guess you call it a ritual, or she looked online about people experiencing the same thing, and so she described to me this ritual to help free my room or apartment of evil spirits or energy or whatever you want to call it. And basically I took a frying pan and sprinkled salt and some high proof alcohol, and then lit.
Where did you sprinkle the salt? Oh, in the frying pan?
In the pan with a little bit of it was like 151 or something, and lit it. And then basically the burning of the salt. Well, actually, I should step back. So I told my mom, we talked, and then she's like, oh, I'm going to send my dad down there to sleep with me for a few days. So he came down for a weekend. And
does your dad believe in the paranormal too, or?
No.
No.
Nah, he doesn't believe in that shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch scary movies or anything. And so, but he knew I was struggling, and so he came down and, like I said, he slept with me for the weekend in my room, and it kind of helped when he was there. But I was still scared, and he's like, all right, we should do the ritual thing. I was like, all right. So he just kind of sat there and told me what to do exactly what my mom described. And so I lit the salt and the alcohol on fire and basically just walked around my room and kind of like wafted, whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The sciencey thing for waving the smoke around.
Yeah. And
basically had to just say, this is my room. This is my house. You aren't welcome here.
Yeah.
If there's anything here that's, not good, or if you're evil, leave now. I walked around the apartment, said the same thing, and just...
So when you did that, did you get any kind of reaction, like any door slamming or?
No reactions or anything, but it seemed to work for about a day.
What?
Well, I guess I should say it happened much less often after that. And it probably worked for about a day after that, after my dad left. And I was like, okay. I mean, I was still a little scared because I didn't know that it would do anything. Because it would just, like I said, it was so built up in my head. And
well, and also it's like, this is just something you tried off the internet. Like,
yeah.
And
it started happening like every other day. And then...
So it was less frequent.
It was definitely less frequent.
Was it as intense, though, when it did happen, or not as much?
Yeah, it's probably a little less intense. I never saw anything again or got pulled up or, pulled out of my bed again, but it just started happening less and less. And, like I said, I would still expect it, but it would happen for maybe like 5 or 10 seconds at a time. I'll feel slightly scared and just I just tell myself, okay, just wake up. And then I would wake up, and then eventually I was able to kind of train myself, and eventually it stopped. I don't know, probably in the past couple years, I've maybe experienced it a few times.
Really?
So it sometimes happens now and then, but I don't know why or what happened. Yeah, so that was my sophomore and junior year of college, and that was a rough time. Just that whole experience really made me rethink the possibility of something out there, and definitely a little more nervous when I go to bed alone.
Yeah, no kidding. So did you feel like it was a human, or was it more like a demon?
It definitely felt evil, so I'd say it was probably more of a demon.
Because it's interesting that like when you felt it pull you out of bed, that it's almost like you felt force. It's like the force, like the force pulling you out of the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you felt a hand on you. And when you felt the pressure on you, you felt force, like around you, pushing in on you. And
so you mentioned a human. So like I said, my girlfriend at the time, for a while I thought maybe, it was her grandma's spirit hating on me or something.
And her, evidently.
Yeah, so for a while I thought it was that. I don't know, like none of it seemed to make sense. Just, I don't know, from like what I saw and just being drug out of bed, I just can't explain it.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
just
crazy.
Sometimes, maybe, I don't know, evil spirits, whatever, just latch onto a random person. That could be it.
Did you ever, I'm wondering, like, it seemed like the way you pulled it out of your girlfriend was by praying, and then it followed you. Did you ever try to pray it away from yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean
every day, before I went to bed.
Often, yes. Yeah, I tried that before I tried burning salt, don't you think?
Yeah, I was there before I go to bed, and just in my head, I would just, basically say, please, Lord, God, whoever, if there's anything out there, please just let me have a good night's sleep. Don't let this happen. And it didn't really seem to work.
Did you ever try, I've heard of like burning sage have you heard of that?
I've heard of that. Didn't do that.
I wonder if that was the ticket.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Yeah, just
probably couldn't hurt if you're still experiencing it from time to time.
I guess it just didn't cross my mind at that time.
Just to cross your T's and dot your I's, don't you think?
Yeah, at that point, I probably would have been willing to try anything. It's just a weird, scary experience.
Yeah.
So, I guess I don't know if you really call it a ghost, but definitely an evil feeling. So
that's horrifying.
Yeah, so...
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Hey, kudos to Ryan's dad for doing that ritual with him, even though he thought it was all bullshit. That's pretty awesome. Supportive dad. I have never experienced sleep paralysis, but I know a couple people who have, and it sounds fucking terrifying. I've never heard of someone getting pulled out of their bed, though. That's insane. If you have a ghost story and want to be on the show, we want to hear from you. Email us at litdarkpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check us out on social media, too. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at litdarkpodcast, LITDARK podcast. If you love this show, hit that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, tell your friends. We really appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.